Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your Walking Dead video for today. In this one, we're going to start with first giving our thoughts on a new update. We've got a response, so to speak, from Scott Gimple and Greg Nicotero about the toning down the violence issue in The Walking Dead. Then we're going to give our thoughts on what it would be like in all-out war without the violence. You better watch your ass, Negan. Rick's got the brand new Nerf XL 2000 with dual bolt action twin firing capability. Shit just got real. And I'll put the link in the description as usual for you guys so you can go ahead and check it out. It's from comicbook.com. And it's got The Walking Dead executive producer says show will not tone down the violence. So, bit of back and forth here. So, check out the link, linked in the description below, comicbook.com at first. So, at first it says from Gail Ann Hurd that, quote unquote, we were able to look at the feedback on the level of violence, Hurd said during a panel session at NatP Conference via Variety. We did tone it down for episodes we were still filming for later on in the season. Then it says the comments were met with even more backlash from fans who have stuck with the AMC series through a highly criticized 8-episode run in Season 7's first half. With over 10 million viewers still on board on a weekly basis, the numbers are worrisome considering the near 7 million viewer drop over a 2-month span, which may have been what prompted Hurd's comments. Now the showrunner Scott Gimple and executive producer VFX supervisor Greg Nicotero are contradicting Hurd's comments and standing by The Walking Dead's approach to violence. So, here's the part we're looking for. The violence in the premiere was pronounced for a reason, Gimple told Entertainment Weekly. The awfulness of what happened to the characters was very specific to that episode and the beginning of the whole new story. I don't think that's the base level of violence that's necessarily should be on the show. It should be specific to a story and a purpose. And there was a purpose of traumatizing these characters to a point where maybe they would have to have been docile for the rest of their lives, which was Negan's point. But I will say again, the violence in the premiere was for a specific narrative purpose, and I would never say that that's the baseline amount of violence that we would show on the show. If we're ever going to see something that pronounced, there needs to be a specific narrative purpose for it. So, and then we have afterwards Nicotero, who takes pride in his ability to creatively portray the harsh world that is the apocalypse, simply says no when asked if the violence has been toned down to appease fans. As brutal as that episode was, it's still part of our storytelling Bible, which is what the world is about, Nicotero said. I don't think we would ever edit ourselves, and I think even after looking at the episode 1 again, as tough as it was for people to watch, I don't think we would have done it any differently. I don't think we'll ever pull ourselves back. There's definitely a difference between violence against walkers and human-on-human violence, but truthfully, we're serving our story. So then it goes into some of the other stuff that we've seen already from Joshua Hoover, who played Fat Joey, and Norman Reedus' kill on him, and kind of the stuff that was cut out of that. Was violence cut in either of those instances? Specific to that scene, I guess. Specific to everything, no, Gimple said. Greg Nicotero is the greatest makeup special effects guy in the world, but what you don't see sometimes can be so much more horrible than what you see, what you imagine, and with the iron, that's a really good example. That's something that I think the audience should do a little bit more of work on, also because as far as the kind of moment, the reality of what that would look like is strange looking. We've been in fist fights when we were kids on the playground, and there's amalgams to that violence, but that kind of strange burn, the audience doing that in their head, even hearing it, it's just a different moment. So, okay, so just to go recap. So let's go over everything that's been said here. So, all right, it sounds like really what what the overall statement is looking like right now is this. They're going to be as violent as they usually are, but they're not going to usually be as violent as the premiere. So, as Gimple said about the baseline, so in terms of a baseline for the show, kind of a regular norm, the season 7 premiere was over and above the regular norm, right? So it was crazier than usual. It was more gory. It was more bloody than usual. But that is not going to be a regular thing. That's going to be a specific thing. Sometimes when we get into situations like that where they're trying to, serve the narrative. So when they're trying to, break us in with Rick and the group and seeing what's happening from their perspective. So I also do like how they said they wouldn't really change anything because that was kind of the purpose of it. But they're also clear on saying, and I remember Ofcom was kind of investigating this, and I did a video on that, and kind of they were investigating whether or not it made sense for the story for them to show that level of violence, I guess, was the investigation. So when I look at these statements, I kind of see it as like, okay, I kind of get where they're going with this. It's really that the show's probably not going to change that much. It might come down, like it might come back a little. And I kind of knew this right off the bat too. I mean, we've done some videos recently, some fun stuff, silly stuff, this kind of thing. Obviously, we know that it's still going to be The Walking Dead. It's not going to be like Teletubbies or something. A lot of what we do is joking around. Obviously, we know that it's not going to be like a kid's show. It's obviously still going to be violent. It's still going to be mature. It's still going to have all the blood and gore and the usual stuff. But maybe what we saw in the season 7 premiere, maybe they kind of realized that maybe they pushed it a little bit too far in the TV series because of the popularity and the size of the TV show and how mainstream it is. It kind of brought them under fire because they adapted the comic book issue 100 so closely, especially with the eye pop and everything, that it caused some issues for them. So going forward, even though they may cut some things, they may change some things like this, they may be a little choosy about what they show because obviously they don't want to piss off any commissions or anything like that, which could be bad for the show, obviously. So, but they also do kind of touch on the Fat Joey sequence and some of the other stuff that's been cut. And I mean, sometimes when you're doing cutting and you're doing editing and things like that, sometimes certain things just don't look right, or you kind of want to leave something open to interpretation by the audience, like he talks about the iron and stuff like that. So sometimes it's just better to leave it open, and sometimes certain effects maybe don't turn out looking as realistic as you'd like them to, or maybe sometimes they turn out even more gruesome than you wanted them to. So maybe you throttle back a bit. So every situation obviously is probably going to be handled uniquely. But what I take from the whole thing is that pretty much as I kind of thought originally, they're probably going to throttle back on the violence a little bit, but they don't want everybody to freak out thinking that there's not going to be any violence, there's not going to be any gore or anything like that. But at the same time, they don't want us to think that what we saw in the season 7 premiere is going to be what we're going to see every episode going forward for The Walking Dead. So yeah, it's not a huge deal. I guess mainly I was kind of pissed off because the whole concept of even questioning throttling back the violence for The Walking Dead is kind of a silly concept to me, because it's like, based on what the show is, it's like if you've seen the first 6 full seasons, you get into season 7 and you see that. Is it really that much worse than a lot of the stuff we've seen before? I don't think so, so that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's it's the world, so all this kind of different stuff happens, and you have all these different commissions and stuff interacting in this, and I guess they gotta be careful. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not too worried about it. Yes, we've done some joking videos and stuff. I'm not worried about it in the next couple of seasons. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. I want to thank you guys who linked that to me, Andy G as usual, as well as a bunch of the other guys who linked to it, saying that they're not going to tone down the violence. I didn't. From the article, he doesn't say like well, he kind of alludes to they're going to keep it it's mainly going to stay the same as it has been, and you don't have to freak out. Obviously, he doesn't want you to worry thinking that the show is going to be PG rated or something, pretty soon or something. Which a lot of us knew that anyway. Curtis Turner says, almost died choking on chili when you said make some spaghetti. Can't watch your videos while eating anymore. So that was pretty funny. And I want to say thank you guys too for the response to the video yesterday. I wasn't sure how you guys were going to react to that, but I started doing it just as a little joke thing in one of my Q&As, and I'm like, I'm going to just make this his own video. This is really funny. So I enjoy that. I like making people choke on things. If you don't know, just ask my wife. Whoa, too far. Okay, gotta throttle it back. Next question is from Kevin Adam Flores, and he says, "Hey Trev, I'm on a roll lately. Seriously Q&A. Now that AMC is unfortunately going to tone down the violence in The Walking Dead, do you think that means All Out War won't be as violent or epic in season 8 as it is in the comics? It would be really cool if you included this in one of your videos, because I'm a fan and watch your videos every single day. Thanks for all the hard work and never stop, man." So thanks, Kev, for all your support. Like we said, it's something, but it's not. It's probably not going to be a huge deal. All Out War will probably be mostly the same as it was going to be anyway. And it's just a season 7 premiere, and they'll go through it and they'll give us a Goldilocks zone. They'll give us just the right amount, probably without too much. Maybe they feel like the season 7 premiere was a little bit too much. So bring it back a little bit and have somewhere in the middle. But obviously there's still going to be violence in the show. It's The Walking Dead. You can even see in the trailer where and there's a new one, by the way, I'll get my thoughts on tomorrow. Daryl's ground and pounding somebody. Don't know who it is. It could be Dwight or something. We'll see. But that's pretty violent too. If you watch mixed martial arts fights, that's pretty damn violent to see someone get ground and pounded for sure. Kind of fun to see too, as long as you're not the one on the bottom, unless you're unless they don't have full mount and jiu-jitsu or something. Hunter Terrell says, intriguing Q&A, what do you think happened to Andy from the Hilltop, the guy who helped Rick and the gang get inside the satellite station? Thanks, man. Love your videos. So I think Hunter, he's just one of those characters that kind of faded into the background. Will he ever be back in the show again? I guess we'll have to wait and see for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was just like in it for season 6 and then that's it. I don't think he was killed off, was he? So far as I remember, I don't think he was. So he should be around there somewhere at the Hilltop, but I would not be surprised at all if they just kind of didn't bring him back because he's like a background character and they're like, oh well, whatever. Faraz Tahir says, Simon, a.k.a. Trevor, was probably sent by Negan to retrieve Daryl. The most logical place he would be is Alexandria, but I'm predicting Daryl is going to stay at the Hilltop. So, yeah, that's a good call, Faraz. That's what I'm thinking as well, too, is that Simon's probably out there looking. If you guys missed it on Sunday, did a video with some new pictures where you get to see Simon. He's actually visiting with Rick in Alexandria. I say visiting like as if he's welcome, right? He's just he's there with Rick. You're probably right. He's probably looking for Daryl because Daryl's gone missing now, and of course he won't find him. And even if Daryl's not at the Hilltop, Daryl could go off and find a hole somewhere to live in and survive on very little, like Daryl does. Maybe a building or something. We saw the pictures of there's the new one with Michonne and Daryl there, so maybe he could go find a building to stay in or something, his own spot. And, Daryl can survive on very little, so it should be good. Wrecker says, Junkyard makes me think of a lot of metal and scrap, which makes me think of Fallout. I want to see some homemade weaponry, some grit. I think that'd be badass, like some junk metal armor or something. And from that picture, it looks like everybody that we see so far in the Junkyard group is female. So I'm wondering if maybe it could be a similar situation to the Oceanside where Negan or the Saviors killed all their men or something. That could be something. I mean, you would think that you'd see some men there, but there's none in the picture so far. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that should be cool to see what they can kind of put together out of all the junk that they have there. Maybe some special cars or something, or weaponry. I mean, there's all kinds of shit in a junkyard. I mean, like old cars and all kinds of stuff. You could makeshift. If you had a lot of time in a zombie apocalypse, the place would be like a gold mine because you could put together all kinds of stuff. And they also usually have heavy-duty tools and all kinds of crap like that. And people that work at junkyards, obviously, they're usually very tough. I mean, that's a tough job for sure, right? You're dealing with crap all the time. You have to compact and, definitely a job where you'll probably get your hands dirty one way or another. And, you got to be really handy for something like that. So I think they'd be really good to see in a ZA and could be a really tough group for sure. Last one will be from DJ Study One. He says, "Hey Trev, do you think there will ever be a bigger villain than Negan in The Walking Dead? And when All Out War is finished in the TV series, do you think they could use the 2-year time skip as a full season?" So great questions from DJ. Yes, I think they will use the time skip of a couple years as at least a full season of the show. Probably coming up, that might be season 9, season 10, somewhere around there. Otherwise, it'd be a waste. They should use it because it could be good. And as long as they write and they create something really good for the show, then it should be fine. You know, as long as it's not like stuff that's just slacked and boring and stuff, which, they're usually pretty good about. Anything they add in, it's usually pretty good. Now, they're not always the best at stretching things out. Sometimes they stretch stuff too long, I'll be honest with that. Group wandering around, walking in the Walking Dead, walking around in the woods for, like half a season or something. Like season 4, second half, that's one of the big criticisms of it. Do you think there will ever be a bigger villain than Negan in The Walking Dead? Eventually, probably, but no time soon. In the TV series, maybe not, because we may have already seen the peak for The Walking Dead TV series. For the comics, I think we will see a bigger villain than Negan, or at least somebody who's meaner, nastier, and more powerful than Negan. I don't think Negan is the be-all, end-all villain. So, I think we will see somebody who's bigger than Negan. But in terms of popularity, maybe not, because JDM just came in. This whole thing was like a crazy hit, and, there's bats everywhere on sale. And it's just nuts, man. So I don't know if in terms of popularity we'll ever have a villain that big. But in terms of ability of the character and who the character is, we'll probably see somebody come in the future that's even bigger than Negan was with the Saviors. I think so. And if you guys like this video today, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can also share a favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. Write in the comments below, what do you guys think about this new comment from Gimple and Nicotero, that it most likely is going to continue mainly the same way it's been, with a baseline, with a Goldilocks zone of enough violence, but probably not too much, and somewhere in the middle. Let me know what you guys think. That's it for this video, guys. See you soon. It's Trav saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.